kids, and from Oklahoma, and they bought it. They bought the ranch. So I remember that now, because they come into Red River one night real late, and they'd come in, and I'd already closed my cafe, and they wanted to know if they were hungry and wanted to eat, you know, and wanted if I'd feed them. Of course, he's in a restaurant, you know, down in Texas.
Mr. Lewis still?
Yes, he's not died. She has died. I don't know where Evelyn is. I think she's in Albuquerque. I think that's where she is. In Cliff, you know, where he is. And we do know where Lester is, don't we? And of course, Lester went to school here. But then I'm trying to get both sides of the road from the Lewis Ranch on down this way. And it's the hardest thing. The Lewis Ranch, then I told about that and about them coming and about them buying it. And then you come on down, it was just pasture and swampland is all it was. And then where Terrace Towers is, of course, there was nothing. Then Johnny Brandenburg's home, his mother and father and Johnny and Eileen, they lived back to that. And I think their cabin is still there, but they sold it. I didn't think they were here, but Johnny, of course, said they were. But I always thought they lived in Raton, and Johnny and Rosie went to the Catholic school in Raton. And I'm sure they did, but Johnny said that he went to school in Red River, so I have to take his word for it. And Junior said he did too, so that's all I know. But I don't think Eileen ever did. And
is that Johnny's sister?
Uh-huh. And then they lived, that's his sister, and then they lived in that cabin right back of the lodge, right back of Joyce Edwards. And
yes.
I think it used to belong to Bull Heydrich. Bull Heydrich and Ida. Did you remember them, Johnny, when your folks come?
I don't think
Bull
so.
and Ida from Wichita Falls. They had a boy, little Johnny Heydrich, you know. And they had a sister, Mary. And but anyway, those were the kids. They lived in that little house. And the Brandenburgs sold their house to Bull and Ida Heydrich. And I remember that.
When Mom and Dad came up here, I believe that belonged to Seabrook.
To who?
Seabrook.
Oh, well, it's been sold so many times. I couldn't even... Edwards just finally got it, but I can't tell you who's got it now. Joyce and Mac owned it, you know, but I don't know who has it now. I just don't know. I'm not going to follow up who has it now, but that's where the Brandenburg. And then we lived at the mine then, you know, she's from 30 to 33. And
are you going to tell about being down here at the mine?
Oh, yes.
Where did you live down here, Tillie?
I'll show you. And then...
Because that's interesting
Jack
to me.
and Lottie, of course, they had a home in Raton, and they would commute sort of back and forth. Of course, Jack was just the town drunk, you know what I mean? You could just find him any place on the street. You mustn't tell that, of course, but anyway. They'd come down, they'd bring the milk and cream and eggs and chickens, you know, down here at the mine. They'd bring it down in. Of course, remember, all dirt road and open, but they'd come. Of course, lots of times Jack would be so drunk, he'd deliver the milk, it'd be over here on the side of the road, you know, and the eggs would be all broken, you know. But I can't tell that either, see what I mean? But anyway, he was a good guy, but I can't tell that either. But,
you could tell he's a good guy.
oh, we're past the road. I'll tell you when we come back.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the mine, isn't it?
No, the mine was back
We're
there.
up here.
This is the
I'll show you where the Anglos lived and where the Spanish lived.
Two different places.
And the Spanish lived across the river, and the Anglos lived alongside the highway. But we don't use that highway anymore. See,
Oh, it was the old
where the paved road is now is where the river was. They'll give it push the river over farther, you know. So I can tell about the Brandenburgs. Then I come down from the Lewis Ranch on, just nothing but pasture and swamp, just nothing. And then
So Red River was built on a swamp.
just all the way until where Elsa, where Elsa is now. Absolutely nothing. No homes, nothing. Just nothing. And then Mr. Bolton comes in and buys it. And he builds the SEB motel. He builds, you know, that whole thing that Elsa has now, Mr. Bolton. And he was the one that gave us the first ski area, of course, the ski thing. I just often wondered if we had a ski area if it wasn't for Mr. Bolton. With all what goes on now between you saw how much bickering this bunch was before they got it, you know. And Mr. Bolton didn't tell anybody, just had it in his mind and had it all planned with the forest, just got it done and brought all he bought all the old machinery in from the oil fields, and John Carmichael lived in a trailer there, and they just put it up, He didn't he had the money. He didn't have to ask anybody any questions.
Well, it wasn't any stockholders. He did it himself.
Oh, it wasn't any stockholders. He owned it. He just owned it outright. It wasn't a stockholder.
When was Scary built?
Well, I'm trying to figure dates. I want to say 56, 55, and 56. It's along between 54 and 56. I think it opened in 56.
Well, now, didn't you relate that to when your lodge burned? When the Monte Vista?
Did I what?
When did your lodge burn?
Oh. It burned in... See, I can't remember that. I never even thought about telling them Monte Vista Lodge burn. I'm glad you mentioned that. I didn't mention it.
That's interesting. That's... And tell where it was located?
I'll look because I've got the pictures of it. I'll look and see. But
I thought you had told me once that the Scary opened the year that your lodge burned.
It did. I wanted to say 52. That's the year I wanted to say. But of course, and then Big Tony died in 50. But Big Tony wasn't here when the lodge burned. So it was the winter of 52. The winter of 52.
I was thinking it was like 58, 59. It was earlier than that?
I'll see. Well, it was, you're right. Big Tony died in 52, then I run it to 58 and sold it to Dick and Jack, and that's when it burned in 58. When they took over, they had it for Christmas, and they overloaded the knob and tube, and I told them it wasn't built for winter. I told them it was all old knob and tube wiring. But, you can't tell people if you want anything, you just buy it, And Dick was a drunk, he was a drunk, until they kept saying, he's just going to burn that place down. He's just going to burn that place down. I thought, hell, he did. He had burnt the wire. He was asleep in the chair there in the lobby when he saw the fire. It was all knotty pine and, a lot of cracks in your walls, He saw the blaze up there in those front two rooms. Got everybody out.
Now, when you had it, it didn't have electricity, did it?
Yes.
It had electricity when you had it?
It did break. Yeah, they had electricity. CREA came in 48.
What'd you do before that? Have your own generators? What'd you do before that? You have your own generators?
No, we didn't have it. The people at Oklahoma built it. They had their own light plant.
Well, that's what I meant, yeah.
John Wagner had their own lines plant. We had our own light plant at the bar, Everybody, I call them putt-putts.
But are you going to talk about the gambling days?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know you
I'm going to tell everything,
good.
but I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to bring it down so they can follow it from the Lewis Ranch.
Yeah.
But half the people won't go because half of them won't know the Lewis Ranch. And that's why I'm trying to bring it all together. And then, of course, since then, all those homes then Mr. Bolton came in and he built the SCB, he built the theater, he built all those shops, he built all that in there,
Mm-hmm.
And he had the nicest cafe, and he didn't have liquor. And then he built the ski area and built the lodge. And of course, when the first ski area burned, were you all here when it burned?
Mm-hmm.
And the first chalet burned, But I'm doing it, but it's just...
it's kind of hard, isn't it, to organize it? You're trying to organize it.
I'm trying to bring it down to where on this side of the road, this side of the road, the river road, that Lewis pasture was all just swamp. There wasn't a thing. It was just nothing. And nothing where Jack Chambliss' house is. And Jack Chambliss, I tell about him when he came in the business he started there. He had the first sheep business, and she had the first beauty shop,
Mm-hmm.
And they had rooms all in the back, and there the beauty shop and Jack had his office.
See, that's the Highlander now. Isn't that the Highlander now?
No, that's the Highlander now.
Okay, see, people would know the Highlander.
Yes, see, it's the Highlander now. But that's what I'm trying to tell, so they'll see the change,
Maybe when we come back, Johnny, we can kind of drive through and I'll help her
Be real good.
orient.
Then I'm bringing it on down to the...
Are you going to tell where the first post
Who
office
was
was?
those two? I don't know whether you will remember. You know where Bill Addison lives, that first house there. Specs. Oh, now you told it. It's been on my mind. I've searched everything. Now, they're from Carlsbad. They built that house. The Specs built that house.
Carlsbad and Aspermont.
Now, did the Specs build that house, or they built where Judy Dickey lives? They had the Judy Dickey house.
They built Drew's house first, and then Blanche Speck
Built the other one?
built the one that Billy Addison.
Both of those houses and the Specs. Well, I'll have now. You saved my life. I've asked everybody. Junior doesn't know. I said, oh, the mother and
Tillie?
father. And Mary, remember Mary? And they were such lovely people, and he had a big store in Carlsbad. The father and mother did, you know. And they had both of them then, where Addison lives. And
See, Johnny and I bought, where Drew and Susie live, we
Yeah.
bought that from the Specs.
Did you live in the big house or the first house?
The big one.
I thought you lived there.
And loved it.
I thought you
That
did.
was our first house, mine and
And
Johnny's
they
first house.
left, and they left. Of course, it was big because they had a big family, and they'd all come and stay, you know.
See, there were 6 bedrooms in that house. Each
Yes.
family had their own
Yeah,
bedroom.
I listened, they took me through it. They gave me a great big poker. They had a big fireplace. There was a fireplace in it. And they gave me a poker. This poker was twisted like this. But before they left, of course, they've all died now, you know. And I've still got that poker hanging from my fireplace, so I think of every day, you know.
That's from the Spec house.
They gave me
I didn't know that.
poker. This big long poker, and it was this part was twisted. Had the handle, then it was just twisted. And I use it at my fireplace.
Johnny, don't we have the little shovel in that where our little shovel came out? We have several pieces of furniture that came out of it. It was full of antiques when we bought it.
Yes, you know, but they wanted me to have the poker. I don't know why, but they wanted me to have the poker. So that was all right with me. With that, you know what I mean? You can't be choosing.
People give you things.
When someone gives you something, you just take it whether you want or not. Well, that's it. But I'll get it down, even if I just have to mention it.
Well, and
And then Jack Chambers had their home, and then he had his office. And then I'm not going to mention in between there. Then I'll mention the Bolton, and I'll mention the Alpine Bank. Because Grace and Roy Gamble had a cafe there. Do you remember Grace and Roy Gamble? They lived up there, up the river there at that place that burned. You know, who owns that Mrs. You know, the place that burned that had the gay 90s shows and...
Oh, Aspen Park?
Aspen Park. And, Stiggles, yeah, I couldn't remember that. And Grace Gamble, and then somebody else had the cafe where that Smith is. Lovely couple. They're still living in Texas, but I don't think they ever come back anymore. I don't know what their names were. No one seems to know. But anyway, then they don't need to know every little detail.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice if I do that tomorrow. I'm going to start and just sort of put it together.
Well, are you going to mention, like, where the first post offices were?
Yes, I'm going to
Okay,
mention
that'll be interesting.
the post office when we came, the Johnsons had. See, I'm trying to bring it down, and all down to Lewis and the Pratts, and Mother Pratt and her family, and Lyman Pratt, you know, and then Victor has it now. And then I'm trying to take each side of the road first. This side, then this side, and this side. I'm trying to do this like this. I'm telling all about Rose Hill, and Dr. Chambers, the drugstore, and he did practice, and he did have a New Mexico license. So I'm just calling him our first doctor. Look here how they build up here. It'll be all right. It'll be interesting.
It'll be great.
It'll be
really.
interesting. But it's just getting it put together.
Are you going to mention some of the old miners?
Oh, yes, I mentioned Pete Beldos, Sonny Burroughs, and Willie Potasevich that worked for the Horace Johnsons. I mentioned the Kirshner boys.
Hey, Tillie, I've never told you. You were right. The name is Moberg. I looked it up in the book.
Moberg. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm just going to say everyone has a different opinion and a different viewpoint, and that is the truth. But it's Oscar and Harry. Now I'll tell about them. They lived up Bitter Creek with their father, the Mulberry boys. They were
Pioneer, wasn't it?
a pioneer. They were dead. They were drunks too, you know. Junior has the old Morning Glory Victrola that they had. They take it out and booze, you know, drunk all the time. You can see them sitting there. That we used to have trees in town, but everybody chopped them down to build. You know, you can just find them any place. And the Juniors got their old Morning Glory horn Victrola
I've
that
seen
they
that.
had.
I didn't know that was the Mulberry.
It was
I
Mulberry.
traded it for liquor, huh?
But you know, they left Red River and they went to Albuquerque. And they died in Albuquerque. Of course, father died here, but they died in Albuquerque.
And they had a cabin at
Pioneer.
Pioneer?
Pioneer, yes. The Moberts, Old Man Crow. They had the flower garden.
Yes.
There's postcards of his flower garden.
You want to go out there this summer? Have you been up there in a
No,
long time?
and he had mean dogs. The road used to go through his place, but in those days, you know, no law. He just fenced it in, and you couldn't go. You know, you'd have to go around the mountain to get by, because he had mean dogs. He charged you a quarter. Now, if you pay a quarter, you could go through. That was Old Man Crow.
Yeah. What happened to him?
And then to get to the Terabell Mill, to get to the Terabell. And I don't know who owns the Terabell. The Prads used to own it, but I don't know who owns it. I don't know who's out of it. I don't know anything about it.
What happened to this Crow fella? Did he go to California?
Well, he left Red River, you know, and then I'm just saying, well, then I don't know where he went or if he had any relatives. I just don't know. Then I'll tell about the skier, about Elsa and Tony coming, and they were ski people, and then I'll tell about the Miss Feinberg having the home of hot biscuits. That's where the liquor store is now. That was the next thing. Now I'm talking about olden days.
Yeah.
Home of hot biscuits. That was
Now
the
that's-
only eating place,
that's,
you know. She'd serve chicken and hot biscuits, and that's all you
Mining
got.
company, isn't it?
For the mining company is now.
Tillie,
Huh?
do you remember a place, the first place called the Red River Inn? About 1937, somewhere along there.
The Red River Inn. Well, don't we have a Red River Inn now?
Yeah, but there
It was
one,
different than
one
that.
called the Red River Inn at about 1937. I have no idea where it was.
Where have you heard about it, Johnny?
It was in that old Chamber of Commerce brochure.
Oh, it was in one of those brochures that you gave, that old newspaper. He was looking through them. And it has an advertisement for the Red River Inn. And it was in 1937.
This is that book, Judy, that
Oh, that other book?
Brunson book.
Oh, okay. I want her to see that sometime.
Well, that isn't where Denzau is now, is it? That's the Red River Inn now, isn't
I
it?
don't think that wasn't built in 37, was
No, I
it?
know it.
That was swamp.
Yes, it was built in 37. The man that built it, I must get his name. Oh, you see there, I'm just,
Johnny, who was it that
the man that built it was the man that rocked the skier, you know, and to this day they've never heard. Huh? Donlin built the Red River Inn.
No, but not in 37, though, did he?
Yes. No, not 30. Oh, this was 37?
Yeah, 37.
Way back.
Oh, well, that was built in the 50s after the skier.
yeah.
Because they both run the dining room in the skier, and he was the manager of the skier, and he did whatever, he embezzled or whatever he did. You know, to this day,
Yeah.
and then their son and daughter had the Pioneer Lodge, had Dolly Johnson's. What was her name now? They had Dolly Johnson. Mrs. Strickland. Strickland had Dolly Johnson. See, I forgot them. And I'll tell about Dolly. Her sing-songs that she had. See, there was nothing built there. There was just nothing. You could just see like you see now. There was just nothing. You could just see all over, you know. I'll tell about Dolly Johnson. But it'll be interesting.
Oh, yeah, everybody is looking
Did you read
forward
those
to it.
papers I brought? They're interesting.
Johnny did, and I read part of them. I haven't really got to sit down and look at them. He really enjoyed it.
I'm surprised that this land doesn't sell. There's some building going on.
Where's your land, Tillie?
Huh?
Where's your 40 acres?
We're over Sunshine. We're not Sunshine yet. Is there a sign here that says Sunshine?
When did you buy it?
We told him he died in 52. Oh, in the 40s. In the 40s. Johnny, the trouble with my 40 acres, we got it for, it's tax property. Of course, tax property is a headache. It's just like dams. We used to have the lot where dam was, you know. Well, Big Tony just owned about everything that was tax property, you know what I mean. And he had dams next door, and he never would clear anything. He'd get it, and then had the car next door to me, you know. Yeah. And then we didn't, you know, you advertised the paper, then we didn't know who the original owner was, and then somebody knew after we bought it and all, and Tony built his bar, and then we had that. Whoever knew where Bing Abbott was up in Nevada, so Bing Abbott comes back, and you know, you have a grace period where you can redeem your property, you know, and so he redeemed it, and we got our good old tax money back again. You know, and everybody says, well, why did you build it by us? Well, there wasn't any bar there when we had it. And the bar paper didn't come in until 35.
And you had a restaurant, a cafe?
We got the first liquor license.
What year was that? 45?
35.
What made you all go into that kind of business?
I didn't want to. We just didn't have to. He got told he was fired from the mine, and we didn't have any work, we didn't have any money, we didn't have a bank. And we just came up to Red River, and Horace and Mary Johnson had the post office up there where Finch, you know what I mean. Of course, that's all changed with that cement building, you know what I mean. And the buildings, I can't say shacks, but I want to say shacks in my story, but I don't think that sounds good. But they were just shacks, you know. Oh, because I've never seen anything like them coming from a cab.
Well, say it, Tillie.
And
that's what they were, well, say it.
You know. And we become very good friends with them because they had a grocery store. We'd come to the Molly Mine up there and buy our groceries, you know, and things. And then we played bridge with them. They like to play bridge, and we like to play bridge, and we like to play bridge with them.
You want to drive down here, Tillie?
Huh?
You want to drive down and see your property? We're just out riding.
I don't know if I tell you where it is or not.
If you'll drive down there, we will.
Okay. I can tell you where to go, but I'll have to point it out to you.
Hey, the road we get on anyway.
It's just like this. It's just nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure is pretty and
But
green.
Johnny, it's tax property.
That's where Donna Thorne's live. That's where Billy and Linda live.
Then that's their house. I'm trying to get someone to go in with me. I have to file a quiet title suit. And of course, with the quiet title suit, I've got to fight the government. And I've got brains enough to know that you can't fight out the same.
On what? To leave this property out here?
Why is that, Tillie?
Why do you need a quiet title suit? Huh? Why do you need a quiet title suit?
Because the sand claims, you know. I've got sand claims. They never sell it to the man that I bought it from. See what I mean?
Okay.
They said that was all government land. It never was supposed to be sold. But the man that did it, his name's in house on the books in house, shows where the transaction and everything was made, you know. But I just never felt like I wanted to spend $1,000 or so, you know what I mean? If I had a husband, had some security, you know, someone to back me up, you know. But I don't. For sure, they're just not interested at all, you know.
It's only worth what? 400 or 500 acres?
Oh, yes. It's valuable. Everybody wants. I get letters from people all the time on it, you know. I was going to sell it to Christine Delizio and Iris Wilson. You know, Christine had those llamas, you know, the ski area. And they wanted it. And they wanted to build a home up here. And so she would bring her llamas and things. And they put up money, escrow money, and had it looked into and all. And they wouldn't buy it because Sam told them the same thing. But I gave them their escrow money back. They got their money back.
That's where his dump is. That's where he brings his garbage.
Who did he buy that from? See, he wanted mine. He come in here and just sold his land, you know. I don't know where this goes, Johnny.
Well, what was it?
Where is the town? Up that way? I think it's all up that way, to your left.
What was the
Then
town called, Tillie?
Sunshine.
Oh,
They had a post office. They had schools.
well,
When it went busted, when the land grant, he got all the money, then he skidded. He promised them lights, sewer, water, and everything, and didn't do it. See what I mean? He didn't do it, you know. Then all those people come from all nine, Norwood, the Galentines, the Schaffners, the Prunnys. They all were here and had land. Bob still has land here, and they all came. And they all came. Isn't that snow pretty over there?
beautiful.
And they all came to Molly Mine and got jobs.
I didn't know there was a town over here. See, that's an old building right there, isn't it? See if you can see remnants of old buildings. I
And
didn't.
you know there must be something wrong because I think this land would develop.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, you know, and your view, you know. Of course, the Molly Mine, I'll show you when I get to where we're going. The Molly Mine got a big hunt of it. They were always going to build a mill site, or what do you call it there? A mill, I guess. They was always going to build a mill
Well,
there.
this would be a good place to bring metal
This
detectors.
company, they're Bronco, too. They're in a lot of difficulty right now. You've been reading about them, haven't you, Johnny?
Yeah, they are.
It's government supported, but there's two other companies want to buy it. One company has offered the stockholders a whole lot of money, and one of them has offered not very much for shares. You know, it's a stockholding thing, you know. So I don't know who's going to get it. See, these were all homes once. Here.
That has a star on it.
Uh-huh. I like pictures of something like that. A painting
Yeah.
I was painting. Etching or whatever you call it.
I wonder where the town was. Can't even see any remnants of the town, can you?
No?
I just wonder if it was back there.
We'll come.
You think it's back
See,
over
if you'd
this
have
way?
been for, I'd say I didn't know you wanted to come, but there was a sign there where you went off on the paved road. Don't you remember? The miners now went on a paved road to Sarah. Then you take that paved road, you know, to Sarah. And then from Sarah you come on to Sunshine.
Well, this
You
is
go
the
to
road,
Sarah, you know.
wouldn't it? Wouldn't you
And
think
from
this
Sarah
would
you
be the
come on
road?
to Sunshine.
I bet this would be the
That's the
road.
only way I know. You know, I'm a one way. I just, like when I go to Albuquerque, I know San Mateo and Central. And after I'm on Central, I know where I am.
Yeah, yeah.
But they claim this is all government land.
Ooh, look at that hook. Isn't it pretty? I never knew there was a town out here.
Sarah, and then Sunshine. And then
This is blocked off right
and then
here.
the Colorado line.
Oh, it's not Johnny.
Of course, Bill Gallagher has land over here. But my
Yeah,
land
that
is
must
here.
be
My
private land here.
Oh, you can't go, can you?
I don't think you better.
Oh no, my land is near Bill Gallagher's. You know, he grazes, has hay over here and has cattle over here. You know, and but it seems like I don't know. We just never can get together on when to come.
I just wonder if this would not have been the town, and she just didn't realize it was this far up.
And Chris DeLisio and I, then I'd show you. They bought Donna and Phillips because I know Donna's house. You know, they bought their house, and Chris DeLisio and Iris Wilson. They used to have that wool shop over there not Roy Hondo, the other one.
San Cristobal?
No, the other one. El Prado. Not El Prado. The other one where the ski area is.
Royal Seco.
Royal Seco. They had that wool shop over there. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Well, they wanted, because she wanted to bring her llama over here. Because they'd have more grazing, you know. And they paid even the money, you know what I mean, whatever you escrow. But they had the surveyors came out and everything. And when they went, they said that they just couldn't get a clear title to it.
Well, do you not think this was the town up here?
There's more to the town than this. Then
You mean it's
we
left
had
even
we
now?
had a district attorney in house. That woman, that Mrs. Lamb, she's got a house up here. She bought Dennis's mother's house. Well, let's go back to the main road. And then I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. I've never been out here. lived in there.
Nice house.
It's a pretty nice house. Look at the little shingles on it. It has a little star up in front.
They must have railings up here.
The grass is there's pretty good grassland.
When you go by like the same, you just go down, you know. And here was their home, their beautiful home that I was telling you about, where we would go all. Mr. Myers was German, and Mrs. Myers was Spanish. And they had 3 girls. Irma was red-haired, and Billy had got the Spanish. She got black hair and black eyes, and Renee was a blonde. 3 girls, and they all had different colorings. All in the time that we'd spend in that home there, they would cook for us, and they had this great big store, and it all right over here. It all burned down.
Oh.
It was a mercantile store,
It was
wasn't
all a mercantile. Now, I don't know whether I think Renee still lives in the next town, San Luis. San Luis. She was a school teacher. They were all school teachers.
Didn't you say people used to come from miles around and buy here at the store?
Just buy. Look at that big house, Johnny. And the man's name now is on it. You know what I mean?
Sedlap.
But it was farming, and he had a big store. And you know, those people made money by, taking not so much money past hand, but swapping. You know.
Yeah. Oh, look at the fruit trees. They're beautiful. Now, Johnny, can you go to Garcia or Herosa back the old road back
See, it's
over this
good
way?
farming land. It's good farming land.
Now, Tillie, can you go to Herosa from Castilla the old way, or do we have to stay on this way?
You have to stay on the main road. Oh, we got to go on the main road. I don't know where this is.
Well, this is the highway right here.
Oh, well, we go on the highway. Then we go back.
Well, I thought you were
See,
saying
that's
we had
good
been
land.
through that way before. Oh, it's beautiful.
And they built a few cabins, and had Evelyn, and Evelyn married a policeman in Albuquerque. I guess she's still living there. And then they run it for the old folks. And then this one here went on to school and did just real well and married well, and that was his part of the heirs. The estate.
What did the Ortegas do with it? Was it just a ranch? Did they just
They
raise
didn't do
it?
anything. They just owned it. They never did live there or anything. Walt Johnny, Elmer's brother and his family, and 2 boys and a girl, they lived there. And the 2 Moots girls, Johnny's 2 sisters, Margaret and Frank. Pictures went up there and
Took pictures from it?
took pictures from it, but they ruined it now. That we call it Rock Point. It's beautiful. You could see the whole town with your lens. You know what I mean? Of course, this here is the most monstrosity. Where'd that doctor go? Is he still in town?
Yeah, he was renting Jim and Cheryl's old house. Down.
Oh, he lives in Mountain Road.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that a shame?
Yeah,
They
it
put a
is.
lot of money into that. I mean, the Rebel.
The Carpentier, or what? However you said it.
Oh yeah, that where the blue windows are. Is that this other part is new?
Yeah, he's, Colonel Johnston.
Does he still live here?
Yeah.
Does he
Still
still
lives
come? Someone
yeah.
asked me about him the other day.
Yeah.
But that's the Carpentier cabin that long built.
See, he's raising the roof on
And
it
right
now.
here, but he's raising the roof here. You'd go in, you'd hit your head, but that was a show place. And
Oh, it's
then we'd go
beautiful.
up on Rock Point there, and
Just absolutely.
And what is this? Is this a house?
Yeah, it's a garage and apartment.
Well, he sure built. No, that's the Carpentier. That long, see
Yeah.
there, where the blue windows are there, honey.
Well, who was Carpentier? Was he just an old timer?
An old bachelor, and it was named after him. The old timers knew him. I didn't. I never got to know him. That's the Carpentier. And then this army man from Clovis. He's an army man, isn't
Yeah,
he?
retired.
Someone asked me